this initiative at a time that can only be described as unprecedented. I'm joined by John Smiley. And John and I have been practicing Sahaja Yoga meditation for upwards of 2 decades. It's about 2 decades for me, and definitely longer for John. And we hope that this evening we can talk more about hope, about renewal, about rejuvenation, especially in the context of a magnificent life that really touched John's and my life, the life of Shri Mataji Devi, who founded this form of Sahaja Yoga meditation and truly transformed the landscape of spiritual discovery for all of us who are interested in learning more about our own spiritual selves. Few words about myself. Like I said, my name is Shamik. In my day job, I work for a technology business. It's all about acceleration. It's very cerebral. And I appreciate the opportunity to learn more about myself, to slow down and really establish some sense of balance my weeknights and weekends. I found Sahaja Yoga meditation when I was in college a couple of decades ago. And although the beginning was somewhat confusing, Shri Mataji's presence and her guidance, both in person or in the form of virtual events, was really a beacon. And while Shri Mataji passed away in 2011, her legacy of Sahaja Yoga meditation in being accessible for people all over the world is truly an enduring legacy that I think is much more relevant today as we grapple with the crisis of unprecedented proportions. So, John, if you want to share your story of how you found Sahaja Yoga, that would be great.
So, my sisters got their Self Realisation, and I don't remember, but apparently I said I'm interested, but I'm not ready. So after 1 year, then I started to meet with some Sahaja Yogis, started to have some social occasions, barbecues and things, and I started to see how these people were, what a beautiful hearts they had, very genuine, very caring, and gradually I started to become more interested in finding out about why they were like that. I was thinking about this before. We have this term seekers, and what is a seeker? Somebody who is trying to find out why they're here on this earth, what is the meaning of life, all of these things. And some people go to quite extreme measures to follow that path or to find out what the answer is. And I don't really feel that I fit that category, because I don't really feel I was seeking in a way. But gradually I sort of found more and more about this group of people, and felt that they were, as I said, very genuine. And then eventually I decided that I'd like to try and find out what this process is all about, what is Shri Mataji offering. And so then one night I went to a Sahaja Yoga Centre in Sydney and Chatswood in the North Shore, and I had the experience of self-realisation. And it was nice, but it was not that strong. I didn't feel that strongly. But then a few weeks later, somebody who was practicing Sahaja Yoga, who was a chiropractor, he adjusted my neck, and all of a sudden the vibrations were just completely flowing. It was very strong. And so, because we have these energy centers in our body, and so possibly that center here was not very clear. And by just doing that physical adjustment, it released some of the subtle energy that was not flowing properly there. And then I was able to feel this incredible bliss, basically it was. And for about 10 minutes after that, I was completely just blissed out. And
wow.
So that was a nice beginning to my time in Sahaja Yoga, my experience in Sahaja Yoga.
And it's incredible because this is 1980s, late 1970s?
1984 this was.
1984.
In fact, the adjustment was done on the floor in this room.
Oh, wow. history. That's incredible. And there's no Google. 1984, there's no Google, there's no YouTube.
No.
Definitely no Facebook.
Yes.
Was it a pamphlet, or was it someone just telling you that, John, hey, do you want
Well,
to try
it
meditation?
was my sisters. It was just
That's great.
they said, you know, they kept hammering away at me for 1 year.
That's what
You
sisters
have
do,
to
right?
find out, you know, come on, it's going to be good for you. It's going to be good for you, and eventually but it was that. But it was also just getting to know the Sahaja Yogis and seeing, you know, their quality. Yeah. And no, there was nothing digital back then. I think one of our practitioners worked for one of the companies that had the very beginning of the internet available, so that we had some communications between him and somebody practicing Sahaja Yoga in Switzerland.
Wow.
So you could get some information sometimes shared in that way, but it was just the very beginning of that sort of...
Yeah, and email in 1984 was a very different animal from Gmail.
Yes. Yeah.
That's incredible. And I would have to say the same. When I found Sahaja Yoga meditation, I was in college in Pune in the western part of India.
Okay.
And there was this really large group of young people my age, sophomores, juniors, ladies and gentlemen, just getting ready to graduate from college into the workforce. And they were all practicing Sahaja Yoga meditation.
Okay.
And to me, it seemed like gibberish, to be honest. I didn't really understand Sahaja Yoga meditation at all. What did make sense was a very good friend of mine. It was even more interesting. My mother had told me about Sahaja Yoga meditation. But of course, if your mother tells you, I take it seriously, and I kind of flit past it, didn't really take notice. But it was my friend who didn't do well in academics. And he took a year off, came back, and he told me that, hey, there's this form of meditation, would you like to try? And I did notice that there had been a tangible change in him. He just seemed a lot less jittery, a lot less apprehensive. He was always that kind of a bundle of energy, but not in the right sense of the word. And that drew me, and I said, well, if there's been a change in him, you mentioned seeking, and I would have to say that I wasn't necessarily, I come from a family where spirituality and religion and a sense of being reliant on a higher consciousness was very much part of the family fabric. But I can't say I was personally looking for some kind of spiritual bliss. I was in college. I was really looking for a way to make sure that I could reach a higher level of productivity. It's probably the simplest way of describing it. I was in an engineering program. There's a lot of information to process. And I felt that I could do more. My brain was capable of doing more, but there was just a lot of chatter that was getting in the way of that accomplishment. And so when I looked around, there was this friend who had changed somewhat. And then there were a lot of these young people who were also meditating. And I did notice that they were very energetic. They were doing well in school. That had me quite enamored that what is it about this form of meditation? Is it meditation that is helping them? Were you in school? Were you working at the time that you?
I'd done 6 months of university, hadn't really been very motivated. I was working, I'd given up university. I was wanting to be a professional musician, and I was doing a few musical projects, and I remember about 6 months before getting my self-realization, I just gave everything up because I did a musical performance which I'd organised with a lot of people involved, and I felt completely burnt out by the whole experience, and I just said, I don't want to do this anymore. I just had enough. And then about 6 months later I started to meditate and sort of went from there.
Wow. Yeah, because in music, and I can share the Eastern aspect of it. If we take self-realization as a concept, and if I were to tell someone that, hey, you can go to this session, you can sit down and achieve your self-realization, they would probably be a little bit surprised and very skeptical, because The history of self-realization was that it was extremely difficult. It was truly inaccessible for the likes of you and I who've had regular lives. We have day jobs, we pay our bills, we have family, we go to the cinema sometimes. Meditation and self-realization wasn't exactly meant for that demographic in the historical sense of the term. And I find it so amazing. I'm very fascinated by history and the history of Sahaja Yoga. And I find it so remarkable that Shri Mataji, she completely turned the paradigm around. That you can just walk in, and I could just walk in and I could experience this transformation. Was it a different generation? Do you find that 1980s there was a different vibe in the air, and 2020 is different, aside from COVID, of course?
I'm not sure if I can answer that question exactly. I suppose there was, people were looking for things. I don't know that, I'm not sure if I can answer that question actually.
And that's fine,
And Andre said it's okay, we can skip questions.
Yeah, you can definitely skip questions because I tend to chatter a lot, so I'll throw more questions at you. The next question. So, one of the things that surprises me, because I went to grad school for advertising, and advertising is in some ways the science of what we want as human beings. And you mentioned the word seeker. I think seeking and seeker, that term in itself may have been picked up by the vacation cruise lines. So it's either Royal Caribbean or Norwegian Cruise Line that's talking about seekers, and they're seeking something else. They're seeking people who are seeking pleasure, they're seeking a time away from the usual bustle of life. So when it came to how Shri Mataji transformed life in some ways, and I would say from my personal experience that my priorities, my attitudes, what they were 20 years ago and what they are today, not just because of the fact I'm married, have 2 kids and I'm working full time, that obviously shapes your attitude. But then Sahaja Yoga meditation also has this profound impact. Did you find that happening over time, or?
Yes. We, in the West especially, we tend to live in what we call the right side, which is futuristic planning, trying to always be in control of everything. We then have our left side, which is to do with the past and emotions, and we swing backwards and forwards. But in the West, we generally are much more right-sided. And you could say that this burnout that I had with the music, it was just because of operating on the right side, and things were not flowing. So what you firstly learn is that you have to be in the center. And the only way to do that is for this motherly energy, the Kundalini, to rise through our central channel and pierce through the fontanelle bone area, which was the Greeks called the fountain. So there's some significance about the name of that area there. And you desire that you stay in that state because it's good for you, and you get lots of other beautiful things that happen, like you feel bliss. We have a music group called Music of Joy, and the reason we chose that name is because the joy has no duality. It's not like happiness and unhappiness. It's just a centered emotion, if you like. And so when you really do achieve that state, like I got when I got my neck adjusted, it's that beautiful chemical that gets released here, and you just want to tap into that again. And it's a completely natural process. There's nothing you need to inject into your body to achieve that state. And so because it's good for you, you just want to experience that more. And then what we find is that if we go and spread this energy with other people, it increases the experience we have ourselves also. So you want other people to experience it because it's been good for you, and you want to share that with other people. But then it's selfish in a way as well, because not only are they achieving this, but you're getting that benefit yourself because you're giving this energy to somebody else, it strengthens your own balanced state also. So,
Pay it forward, yeah.
yeah.
It's a virtuous cycle.
So it's a no-lose situation.
Absolutely.
Win-win. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is probably a good segue. There's this segment of a video which talks about a poem that Shri Mataji had composed, and also about her describing the Kundalini, this mothering energy that you just described. So this may be a good opportunity to take a listen to this excerpt.
I want to be smaller, like a dust particle which moves with the wind. It goes everywhere, can go sit on the head of a king, or can go and fall at the feet of someone. And it can go and sit everywhere. But I want to be a particle of dust that is fragrant, that is nourishing, that is enlightening.
We have within us a power, I call it as Kundalini, which is kept in the triangular bone, which is sleeping there. So when you awaken that Kundalini, she passes through these various aspects of her life and she enlightens them. Not only enlightens them, but she binds them and makes them one. That is where we become above all these things and we become ourselves. This is I discovered long time back. But to put it into somebody's head is very difficult. But when it started working out, they would ask me how it has worked, how it has happened, what has happened. When I started raising their Kundalini, first only 2 people got it, gradually. Then so many people got this. So they said, we too want to have this within us. So can you give us? I said, I'll try, I don't know. So we thought we should go into a place which is away from the city. So we were about 25 people. I think 6 or 7 people got their realization. So they told us that we are feeling the cool breeze in our hand and also the cool breeze coming out of fontanelle bone area. So I said, that's it. Now you have to grow in it. You have to watch. With a witness state, you should find out what has happened to him. I must say those days people were very, very genuine. They wanted. It was not just a stunt. And so altogether out of 25, 21 got this.
So isn't that incredible? What I find so fascinating and inspiring, especially at this time, there's a lot of apprehension in the environment, and I know at the workplace and just generally in society, there's a lot of fear. Essentially, it's just fear and definite uncertainty about what the future holds. And as Shri Mataji pointed out, repeatedly emphasized that the joy is in the here and the now. And that is so powerful because so much of our time and our attention is spent in drifting between what could have been and what might be, that we end up losing the power of the present moment. Did you find any such episodes where you were interacting with Shri Mataji, and how did it feel just having a conversation with Shri Mataji as she was touring through Australia?
I suppose in the early days she was very much like your physical mother, and she would encourage very upfront conversations, if you like. She wanted to have clear answers from you and things like that. And as Sahaja Yoga grew and that relationship changed, it was, you just enjoyed being in her presence, as you always did, but because the vibrations were always so strong. People talk about, as she came towards the end of her life on the earth, that there was a change there. And for a period she didn't speak publicly. But the vibrations, that cool breeze that you would feel was always extraordinary. I remember there was one night here where we celebrated the Indian tradition of Holi, which is for those people that most people would be aware, where they throw the colours around. And it was in 2006, and Shri Mataji was here with us, and she was not talking. And yet the joy was just bubbling like you couldn't believe. It was incredible. And that, of course, is coming from each of us, because our Kundalini is awakened and all of that quality is there. But you would find when you were in her presence, it was, beyond your comprehension, what you would feel. And it's not quite what you were talking about, but the amazing thing about Sahaja Yoga is if a figurehead who has established the religion or whatever it might be is no longer on the earth, there's always the next person who will take over in that position. You have a new pope, or you have a new whatever it might be. The organisation, it's paramount. You have to have that controlling figure. And the unique thing about Sahaja Yoga is that there's no one to replace Shri Mataji,
Right.
because there's no need, because this energy she has gifted us. And there's no financial interactions, there's nothing. You just have this energy and you can give it to other people. And it's like this grassroots movement. And I always liken it to, sorry to put some pop culture in here, but when Princess Leia says to whoever it was,
Oh, I love Star Wars.
the more star systems you try to clutch in your hand, the more slip through your fingers. It is just like that. There's no control over it, because it is completely natural and completely grassroots. And once you have it, and once you've spent some time nurturing it and watering it, that plant inside you, it can just be given to other people who are interested and who are seeking, even if they don't know that they're seeking. But if people just want to find that balance in their life, that is seeking. They just want to find an ability to turn that radio off and stop dwelling in the past or projecting into the future. It's so easy. It's so easy. This year I've been fortunate to run meditation classes for some Year 7 students in my school. And
That should be interesting.
yeah,
Oh, wow.
It's fantastic.
My daughter's in Year 7, by the way.
Yeah, okay. And I've been talking to them about coronavirus a few times over the last couple of weeks, and they're not concerned about it. But one of the things I said last week was, this achieving this self-realization, it doesn't mean you might not get coronavirus. It's, we don't know what might happen. But a couple of things that it does. One is that it reduces the worry about it, because you live in the present moment as much as possible. But also, as these energy centers clear out, you do develop some qualities inside that are protective. And, it's not a definite thing that you won't get it, but it increases your chances possibly of not getting it. But, we're not going to sign off that no one's going to get it. But firstly, you stop to worry about it, because
That's a big deal, yeah.
You're there, you're just in that beautiful state. And then there's some protection that comes from these centres as you develop them and let them develop and spin properly, and those qualities manifest within you.
Yeah, it's so important, especially now where we're thinking about our immune systems. We're thinking about how do we boost the immune system, how do we protect ourselves against this. unprecedented challenge. And from my personal experience, I can definitely say, growing up, I used to have bronchial asthma. And there were episodes where I would be able to go to school. It can be debilitating in many ways. It's difficult. I remember when I first found Sahaja Yoga meditation, I was a sophomore, so second year of the engineering program. And since then, these episodes, I was dependent on a variety of the products that are available in the marketplace, inhalers. I don't know if you're familiar with bronchial asthma, but you have this whole range of drugs that are available that help you manage what are called these episodes. So anybody who's been in a chronic kind of situation, they become good at managing with drugs. And it was after my discovery of Sahaja Yoga meditation. I can't say that I was a really role model practitioner, because I didn't really follow a lot of the advice that was shared so generously and free of charge, really. However, I did find that there were no episodes after I started meditating, and I would have to pin it on a natural improvement of my immune system, because somehow I was generally more resilient. Now, as you pointed out, that I don't know if that will mean that I would be impervious to new variations and mutations of this virus or future viruses. But at the same time, I totally agree that just the fact that the flow of this Kundalini energy and the ability that Shri Mataji has, the knowledge of the Kundalini that she has shared, which allows us to really meditate and be able to be in the present moment, which we are not kind of hypnotizing ourselves into, but it's just happening. That is powerful in itself, because that allows us to at least focus on whatever we can do, whether we are working from home or we are actually at the workplace. We can try and carry on with our lives as best as we can. So that is, I totally agree, that's so powerful. Did she happen to mention anything specific about health that you would like to share? You know, health and meditation, how it is related?
You'd probably need to ask a Sahaja Yoga doctor that question, because they'll probably remember better than I will. But it just, it's basically all connected. As we've already said, the more centered you are, the more benefit you will have in your health. Sometimes we might have some burden within our subtle body, some imperfection that is going to cause us some difficulty in our life, and it may not be able to be sorted out through this process. We've seen some people in Sahaja Yoga have had some, physical problems over the years. But the more you try to clear, the benefit will be there, and you just have to keep doing your Sahaja Yoga practices. We have a number of things. One is that we clear the left side and we clear the right side, and we clear the right side like this, we clear the left side like this. We have a process which is called foot soaking, where you put your feet in the warm water with salt, which is combining the water and the earth elements, to clear particularly the lower centers in our body, the lower chakras. We sit and meditate each day in the morning and in the evening. We also consider the Mother Earth, which helps a lot clearing the lower centers. But you have to have the knowledge of what you're doing at the same time, which is not complicated. But if you go and if anybody goes and sits on the Mother Earth, they'll definitely get an advantage of doing that. But if you understand that there's a chakra there at the base of the spine, which has the Mother Earth in it, and that by sitting on the Mother Earth and putting attention on that chakra, and by saying certain affirmations or mantras, you can awaken the qualities of that chakra, then the benefit is so much greater. And, then our health benefits, just are linked to that. But Sahaja Yoga, our main reason for doing Sahaja Yoga should not be because we suddenly have some health scare or something, and of course it helps, but sometimes we find that sometimes people come to Sahaja Yoga purely because they want to get some health cure, and they might get cured and then they disappear. So it should be really that you want to achieve balance in your life. That should be the main reason. And then everything else is exponential after that. Like that to me is really, that should be your desire, that you just want to achieve balance in your life.
Yeah, and another aspect that in my readings about what Shri Mataji described for humanity, what is the future? Because sometimes we tend to have a little bit of a negative view of what's to come. Are we going down a negative path? Is it all doom and gloom from here onwards? And she was always insistent that no, it's to the contrary, that we are really at the dawn of a really special time. And this faculty of being aware of this kundalini, this flow of energy, that is universal. You're a Caucasian guy. I would have probably never met you had it not been for Sahaja Yoga meditation. Here we are, Sunday evening, in the midst of a pandemic, we're talking about Sahaja Yoga meditation. So it's remarkable in so many different ways. And Shri Mataji made it available for free. In this day and age, in the year 2020, the fact that it was never monetized, you and I, we've been practicing Sahaja Yoga meditation, we are volunteers and we teach it for free, and the inspiration is Shri Mataji. I find that truly phenomenal, and it's the one universal aspect that kind of links people all over the world. We all want a better life, we all want to enjoy ourselves, and if we can do it together, wow.
I think the other thing with what's happening at the moment in the whole world is that the sickness and the illness and the deaths, they're one aspect of what is happening. But if you see, there's going to be huge changes, and they're already occurring, but there's going to be so many changes in the way we approach our lives, where we approach our idea about money and global organisations relating to money and all of this sort of thing. So many things have changed. Our federal government last year organised the taxation system so that we would get a surplus. We're good on them, that's fantastic, but now all of a sudden we can't have that surplus because there's more important things to worry about. And it's that, really working out what is important in our lives as a race, and what's important for us for the future. And as you said, this is the dawning of the golden age. Always when something is transforming, there are moments of pain, if you like, of difficulty.
Yes.
But we all know that the only way you ascend, the only way you change is by facing difficulties. If everything is hunky-dory and beautiful and lovely, you never change. Any of us in our lives, if we've evolved or we've changed or we've developed a personality, it's always been because of some difficulty we faced and we've overcome. And this is another one of those opportunities, and we just have to be, strong and love each other, and don't worry about toilet paper.
For sure.
B-days are good. B-days are good.
Yeah, there you go. Resource systems, everything's changing, including that. So this is probably a good segue for us to embark on a guided meditation, and we look to Shri Mataji's advice. This is actually a video excerpt of her guiding a meditation. You may have been there. This is at the Sydney Hilton, maybe 1989, and we can meditate and hopefully feel better after that.
Now, put your left hand towards me, comfortably. Put your feet apart from each other. And now, put your right hand on your heart and close your eyes. Here you have to ask me a very important question. In your heart, you ask me a question as you would ask a computer. You can call me Shri Mataji or Mother, whatever you like. Mother, am I the spirit? Ask the question. In your heart, not loudly. 3 times, ask in your heart, not loudly. Mother, am I the spirit? You have to only ask in your heart. If you are the spirit, you become your own guide, you become your own master, you become your own guru. So now take down your right hand into the upper portion of your abdomen on the left hand side. And here you have to ask another question 3 times, not loudly, in your heart. Mother, am I the spirit? Mother, am I my own master? Mother, am I my own master? Ask this question 3 times. Am I my own master? I have told you that I respect your freedom and the pure knowledge cannot be forced on you. So please take your right hand in the lower portion of your abdomen and say it 6 times, asking me, Mother, please give me pure knowledge. I cannot force on you. You have to ask in your free will. As soon as you ask for the pure knowledge, the Kundalini starts moving upward. So now we have to nourish the higher centers with our self-confidence. Raise your right hand in the upper portion of your abdomen. Press it hard on the left hand side. And here with full confidence you have to say 10 times in your heart, not loudly. Mother, I am my own master. Please say this 10 times. Mother, I am my own master. I told you at the very outset that the greatest truth about you is that you are not this body, you are not this mind, you are not these conditionings, emotions, nor this ego, but you are the spirit, you are the pure spirit. So now raise your right hand onto your heart and ask here, or say with full confidence 12 times, Mother, I am the spirit. Just say it without any hesitation. Say it 12 times, please. For your information, you have to know that a divine power is the source of knowledge, is the ocean of knowledge, is the ocean of love. It is the ocean of peace and ocean of bliss. But above all, it is the ocean of forgiveness. So you cannot commit any mistake which cannot be dissolved by the power of this ocean of forgiveness. So please raise your right hand in the corner of your neck and your shoulder. Push it back as much as possible and turn your head to your right. And with full confidence, please say 16 times. Full confidence in your heart. Mother, I am not guilty at all. All right. As I told you before, that you have to forgive everyone. And those who say it is difficult, they must know that it is a myth whether you forgive or don't forgive. But if you don't forgive, then you play into the wrong hands and get yourself tortured by yourself. So please forgive. In general, everyone, not counting how many people you have to forgive, what you have to forgive, but just say, by raising your hand and putting it on top of your forehead across, putting down your head as much as possible, resting on your hand. Please say, with an open heart, please say, Mother, I forgive everyone. Please say it. Please say, otherwise it is difficult later on for me. I have to clear out everybody's agya and it takes too much time then. So best is to say it from your heart. After all, you are not going to miss your self-realization for that. Now, take back your right hand on the back side of your head and put your head on it, resting on it, upward. Here you have to say for your own satisfaction, O Divine, if I have done any mistakes, please forgive me. But don't feel guilty. Don't count your mistakes, don't think about them. In general, you have to say, O Divine, please forgive me if I have done any mistakes or anything wrong, anything against you. Now, stretch your palm. Stretch your palm and put the center of your palm on top of the fontanelle bone area, which was a soft bone in your childhood. Now, put down your head properly. And here, push back your fingers as far as possible. Please push back. This is very important. And now put a pressure on your scalp and move your scalp slowly 7 times clockwise. Here again, I respect your freedom. And I cannot force self-realization on you. So here you have to say 7 times, bending your head properly and pressing it hard, moving 7 times. Mother, please give me my self-realization. Please ask 7 times, please.
Wonderful. I know I'm feeling a lot more relaxed. And for the viewers who've joined, this series continues. It's every Sunday, is it, John?
That's right, yes.
And for the latest updates, please tune into the Facebook channel. It's freemeditation.com.au.